Hello and welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 095 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from November 20th, 1993, taped November 8th, 1993, at the Newton Recreation Center in Newton, North Carolina. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the dirty white girl to my Tammy Fitch. It's Trae. Trae, I hope you can cut a better promo than the dirty white girl.
I don't you dare speak ill of my princess. The
I,
queen of my
I,
double wide trailer, if you will.
I hesitated calling myself the Tammy Fitch just because it's not exactly the highest compliment in 2025. But if you look at it to this show, you are definitely the dirty white girl to my Tammy Fitch.
Well,
I'm the uptight northerner, and you're, the down home country person from the south.
I mean
And
you're not wrong.
yeah, it's like, you've got dark hair when I'm actually rocking my actual hair color. It's a it's a dirty blonde, but there's blonde in there.
My hair is
Um,
about as dark brown as it can be without being black.
and you know, I regularly don't sleep with Chris Candido.
Well, I don't regularly or irregularly or have ever slept with Tony Anthony. Just for the record.
Um, do you think you're a good replacement for Mr. Ron Wright?
I don't think anybody can replace Mr. Ron Wright.
I tell you what, unfortunately, I really do think that's it for Mr. Ron Wright. I I know he comes back for like one-offs here and there, but like I think this is it for him as a regular character.
Yeah,
He
well,
he went
it
out on top.
yeah, it works out. It made sense. Like, you know,
Yeah,
it was a
that
good send off for the character. Assuming like if eventually like we will get to see him again and see like okay, yay, Ron Wright's good.
it makes me hate Tammy Fitch even more.
Uh yeah, it,
Um,
that bitch. How
but
dare she do that to Mr. Ron Wright?
So let's go to the intro of the show with Bob and Dutch, and we're going to be joined by Bobby Blaze of all people.
Hi, wrestling fans. Welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Professional wrestling the way it used to be and the way you like it. I'm Bob Caudle along with Dr. Dirty Man, Dutch Mantell. Dutch.
I am here.
Yeah,
I am here.
everybody knows you're here now, Dutch. You look like El Cid or somebody there today, by the way. Fans, I tell you, we got a great hour in store for all you fans. The Dirty White Boy is going to be in action. We're going to go back and take a look at some of the action last week, which involved the Dirty White Girl. I'm sure you remember that, Dutch. What a wild time that was. We got a U.S. Junior Heavyweight title match coming up during this hour. The Moondogs,
My favorite team.
They've been fined and they've been barred from television. And our main event, the Bruise Brothers against the Heavenly Body.
Oh, that's a great show here today on Smoky Mountain Wrestling. But today, for Tim Horner's second defense of the Beat the Champ, I'm going to draw a name, as I do every week. And the lucky participant this week for $1,000 will be Robbie Eagle facing Tim Horner today in the Beat the Champ contest.
All right, fans, as we say, it's going to be a great hour. Lots of action, lots of excitement. So stay right here with us. And wait a minute. Bobby Blaze.
How you doing, Bob?
Fine. What you got here?
I got a little surprise here. Chris
Oh,
Candido.
my heavens.
Look here, Chris Candido. You embarrassed me. You humiliated me. But you know what? I told you I was going to the board of directors of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Thanksgiving Thunder Tour, Bob. This year, Chris Candido, I'm going to embarrass you like you embarrassed me. Guess what, pal? You're going to be the biggest turkey this Thanksgiving at the Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. Think about it, Candido.
Somebody's going to be tarred and feathered. There's no doubt about that one. Right? That's going to be the turkey match. Thanksgiving Thunder, our turkey champion. Woo! Let's go to the ring, fans.
You know how every week we seem to have like a contest over who can cut the best promo and what the best non-wrestling segment is? This is not going to be one of those weeks. Don't get me wrong, we have some good stuff, but you know, there's a lot of shall we say not good stuff when it comes to people on the microphone this week.
Yeah, there's plenty of good though. There's a lot to like here.
Yeah, but it's not one of those shows where we just have like 20 minutes of Jim Cornette, Bob Armstrong, Kevin Sullivan. Well, I mean, we have all of them, but just we also have Tim Horner and Bobby Blaze and a personality profile of uh Mike Furnas.
Did
Will
how
will
close did
will
you
it,
come? How close did you come to quitting the podcast when you heard Mike Furnas' personality profile?
I'll be honest, I had memories of the Tim Horner personality profile, and I was waiting for Mike Furnas to sing Shameless.
Uh,
It should be
wow.
a rule that during every Smoky Mountain personality profile, they have to sing Shameless. And then uh, and then Cornette has to explain why they're all singing Shameless. And he'd be like, it's just become tradition. It's what we do. We're having a contest to see who sings Shameless the best. You should hear White Boy sing it. He really belts it out.
Oh wow. Yeah, I want that. I want to hear Dirty White Boy singing Garth Brooks.
Now, they announced a U.S. junior title match, and well, I wrote down Chris Candido versus Bobby Blaze. And when that didn't happen, I'm like, why did Bob Caudle say the wrong match? That I realized Bob Caudle never actually said it. I just assumed that there's only two people fighting over this title, that would be the logical match this week. That was not the match this week.
Well,
Um,
I completely missed that was a title match.
yeah. I mean, we'll get to it. We're going to go over the credentials of the challenger, I'm sure. But speaking of Bobby Blaze, he came in with a pillow and talked about the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour and the Turkey title match as he attempts to make Chris Candido a triple champion here in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Um, the only title match in wrestling history where the person does not want to become the champion.
He quite literally just wants the belt, like just the physical belt.
Yes. Now, I haven't read the spoilers. I mean, I think we can both assume what happens, but do you think they're going to trade the title back and forth like they have with all their other matches so far?
I looked at the title history, so I know the answer.
Oh, damn. By the way,
Sorry.
it is important to know, and I literally like didn't realize this until later when I thought about it. This is the go home show to the Thanksgiving Thunder Tour.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
even though next week it'll be like during the Saturday of the Thanksgiving Thunder tour. I mean, this is the go home to the first two shows. And also, and I know I noted this later, but I might as well bring it up now while I'm talking about it. There's a Smoky Mountain title match on a WWF pay-per-view this Wednesday night, and they've never mentioned it on this show.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess by I guess like you don't really want to directly plug it or whatever because like it's not like any of these people are going to go to Boston for the show, but at the same time you think like okay, well maybe you could get a couple buys by mentioning it in passing. Oh yeah, by the way, Dutch, as you know, this week at the WWF Survivor Series, the Rock and Roll Express are going to defend the tag team titles against the Heavenly Bodies.
Well, to
But
be fair, everybody watching
yep,
that show has seen a buttload of Rock and Roll Express Heavenly Bodies matches.
true, true, true. Um, and it's sad well, on a show with the Four Hearts versus Shawn Michaels and the Knights and the Four Doinks versus Bam Bam's team, somehow that got the most disappointing reaction on the show.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, what are you gonna do? It's putting non
Never,
WWF shit in front of WWF fans never works.
I say, never booked the Rock and Roll Express again and for at least 4 years. So we go to the ring for our first match. It is the WWA World Heavyweight Champion and the U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion, Chris Candido, versus the number one contender, Jason West. And you thought some of our Beat the Champ TV title matches had some weak challengers. Um, not sure what Jason West has done to earn this title match. I want to petition the Smoky Mountain Board of Directors to find out because I think Jason West might have been doing some favors here to get this match.
Well,
Um,
clearly, he's the champion of the West, and that's why his name is West. Otherwise, he couldn't use the name.
Obviously, why did I not think of that? By the way, and I know like the WWA World Heavyweight title is, I don't think he's, yeah, well, I think we've mentioned this. He's not really the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but on this show he is, which makes Chris Candido perhaps like the only wrestler in history to simultaneously be a heavyweight champion and a junior heavyweight champion at the same time.
I bet if I thought about it for a few minutes, I could come up with another one, but I'm not going to.
Like I think the closest I can think of is Rey Mysterio in WCW. When he and Kidman won the tag titles, he was also the cruiserweight champion. But I'm not really thinking of it like that anyway. But
Yeah.
anyway, as they mentioned during the intro, and we didn't mention this, Bob Caudle announces that the Moondogs have been banned from television. And I'd like to point out that Kevin Sullivan was banned last year and just hired a lawyer to threaten a lawsuit. And then I'm like, maybe Moondog Lipschitz will be submitting a cease and desist letter soon enough. Candido wins with a suicide plex
Moon.
and the Lud. Did I pop you on
Sorry.
Moondog Lipschitz?
Moondog lip shits.
Uh, Candido wins with the suicide plex and the one finger on the chest pin, a la Ludwig Borga, which I doubt that there was a direct connection between the two, but hey, Ludwig Borga just ended Tatanka's winning streak a few weeks ago with the one finger on the chest pin. And here's Chris Candido retaining his cummerbund with the one fingered pin. And
He's
then
done that before, though,
Candido,
hasn't he?
maybe,
I think
but
so. I
for
like
some
it. I like
reason,
the superplex and the one finger pin.
I always loved a nice cocky way to, win matches like that. I remember JTG in his book, he talked about how he used to do that in WWE. Well, not the one finger touch, but when he was wrestling job matches on Superstars, he would look in the camera, do the 1, 2, 3, like Bret Hart did at WrestleMania against the Bolsheviks that time.
Yeah.
Um, and by the way, he got heat for that because he did it while wrestling someone who wasn't a local jobber.
Oh.
Yep. By the way, so Candido runs over to the announce desk and grabs Bobby Blaze's pillow because, of course, Bobby Blaze would just leave his pillow there at the announce desk. Why not? And then he tried dumping the feathers on West until Blaze made the save. And Blaze was very upset that someone else would use the pillow that he left at ringside.
I mean,
Makes you wonder
how
why
dare
he,
you?
why, yeah. It's like, why would he even bother? Like, if this was real, why did Bobby Blaze leave the pillow at the announce desk? Like, you literally could have had, like, in the opening segment, you could have had Dutch holding the pillow and Bobby Blaze walking up to cut the promo. This way, it didn't look as ridiculous as this is with Bobby Blaze bringing the pillow and then leaving it there for Chris Candido to, conveniently go grab and use.
This Bobby Blaze, I don't think is the smartest fella in the territory.
Nope. And again, in about 16 months, he is going to be your champion, which might
Hashtag not my
also,
Smoky Mountain champion.
yes, I might also remind you why Smoky Mountain suddenly goes out of business in 1995. And I say that with all love and respect to Bobby Blaze.
Aw.
we get a plug for Khakis Lounge Ramada Inn in Hickory, North Carolina. It
Yes,
is the place to be in Hickory, featuring
Hickory.
oldies and beach music with a splash of top 40. If you want to wind down or wind back up, Khakis Lounge at the Ramada Inn in Hickory is a place to try. New Year's
Do you even
packages are
remember?
available in. You gotta stop cutting me off in the middle of my plug here for something that's not paying us. And you wanna know why they're not paying us, Trae? Because after
Uh,
this plug here in November of 1993, they go out of business in June of 1994.
wow, no wonder they were advertising on Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They were desperate.
I think Corny, might have charged them too much for that plug there.
Do you remember me referencing Hickory, North Carolina? Like, I don't know, recently-ish on the podcast.
They do not.
There
We
was
talk
I
about a
can't.
lot on this show.
We do, and a lot of it goes one. Yeah, what's the phrase? In one ear and out the other. But
Yes.
I don't remember why it came up, but I remember talking about. There's a comedian, a very funny comedian named John Reap, who is it's part of his whole persona is he's from Hickory, North Carolina. Oh yeah, I
Nice.
remember. It was the it was the segment that they did on the riverbank because I explained that this was the Ripper.
Okay, I do remember that part. I didn't remember
Yeah.
the Hickory, North Carolina part. Um, all right. So yeah, Khakis Lounge,
We have
Ramada
the
Inn in
worst
Hickory, North
connection.
Carolina. They go out of business in June. So go back in time and go to the Khakis Lounge. Um, from here, we get a recap of Primetime Brian Lee, Dirty White Boy, and Dirty White Girl last week. Unfortunately, they do not show the ending clip where Primetime Brian Lee backdropped her head first onto the announce desk. Um,
Shame. That was great.
yes. Now we get to the match that you were very psyched for while watching. Dirty White Boy with the Dirty White Girl versus John Hitchcock.
Yes. Perfect. Like it's like I don't know. I don't know if a dream match, but maybe like a daydream match. Like this is what TV wrestling was meant to be. It's John Hitchcock, the guy who looks like the most generic wrestler, and he worked his shift at the furniture factory, and then he got in his 1983 F-150 and drove down to the Newton Recreation Center and wrestled my new favorite wrestler, the Dirty White Boy.
Nice. And um, so White Boy was slapping hands on the way to the ring, and I know he's a babyface now, but that just seemed wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. It's here's what you do, and maybe I didn't really pay like attention to it, so it didn't really register. But if you're gonna do that, do like just sell on your face like you're. I'm not sure about this, but these people want to slap my hands, so
He,
okay, we'll try it.
he just looked annoyed more than anything else.
Well, I mean, that's just his face.
It's just his face. Indeed. Um, so I literally wrote nothing until the finish, which was primetime Brian Lee ran down to put White Girl in a full Nelson, and Tammy hit her with a purse before running off, which somehow disqualified John Hitchcock.
Yeah,
Dirty,
I
Dirty,
even watched this back to try to figure it out, and I couldn't. So,
Dirty White Boy won by disqualification because primetime Brian Lee and Tammy Fitch attacked his manager.
well,
Or or
nobody
or
knows except for Mark Curtis, and he's no longer with us.
damn it, we need to go back in time so we can interview Mark Curtis specifically about this.
Right?
Maybe John Hitchcock refused to do a job. And, instead of using one of
It's,
the 20 job guys who got hit in the head by the Moondogs later, spoiler alert, they insisted, no, we have to use John Hitchcock in this spot.
wasn't he one of the guys who got beat up by the Moondogs later?
Possibly.
I think
I just
so. I thought I wrote it down. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of
Yeah,
people
he was
who,
he was definitely out there. No, like the first ones out there were John Hitchcock and Chris Canyon.
well, after the SMW SWAT team, of
Oh,
course.
after the crack security team. You know, that never would have happened if they would have hired Atlas Security.
No, no. That guy with the mustache would not have taken a board to the head. Well, I guess
No.
neither did they take a board to the head, but they also would
Yeah,
have taken a stop sign to the head.
we're gonna talk about it later, but Jimmy Del Rey took that board to the head so goddamn
Oh
great.
my God. I was like, he's either the greatest seller of all time, or Ron or Don Harris really walloped him with that fucking board, or both.
What are the one of the two?
All right. So we are closing in on the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. And we're going to talk to Kevin Sullivan and the Bullet, who have something to say about their upcoming Four Faces of Fear matches.
Say I'm getting out soon. They say I've been a model prisoner. You see, I'll be out for Thanksgiving Day Thunder because when a fly landed on me, I wouldn't even hurt the fly. And they said, look at him. He wouldn't even hurt a fly. But a bullet is something else. A bullet is a man that's trying to hide his true identity. Bullet Bob Armstrong, peekaboo, I know it's you. And in Thanksgiving Day Thunder, you're gonna meet me. The man that you sent away. The man that you wouldn't pay his doctor bills. I didn't want to go on that rampage. I didn't want to do what I had to do. But in Thanksgiving Day Thunder and the Four Faces of Fear, it's all legal. I can dismember you, rip off your mask, reach down and rip your entrails out. Such fun. Thanksgiving Day Thunder, and they won't put me away again. It's legal. What a great country! Thanksgiving Day Thunder, the Four Faces of Fear. Bullet Bob, I'll see you then. Thanksgiving Day Thunder. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yes, I'm almost ready for Thanksgiving Thunder Part 2. I'm just about there. You see, I don't have a patch anymore. I'm seeing kind of hazy, but I am seeing. And if that referee will just lead me to the ring, Kevin Sullivan, alias the Master, I'll take care of business. I've heard you so many times talk about putting people on the tree of woe. We're going to find out what that tree of woe is all about, because I'm going to strap you to it, and you're going to be screaming, whoa, 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 every time I hit you, boy. Get me off this tree and get that bullet off of me, because I'm going to be on you, boy. I'm going to be on you hard. I owe you now. You tried to take me out, it didn't work. Cornette tried to take the mask off. It didn't work. You're not going to get the mask. Thanksgiving Thunder's rolling, brother. It's almost here. There's going to be a thunderclap heard around the world. I heard the Japanese wrestlers are talking about it. The photographers are coming. They're going to see if the bullet loses his mask. Is it Bob Armstrong or is it not Bob Armstrong? Well, only I know that, brother. You're going to have to prove it, and you don't pack the gear, because you got the devil in you, boy, and I intend to beat it out of you. Thanksgiving Thunder Part 2. The bullet's going to show you once and for all why he's bad to the bone.
All right, so I'm not sure how Kevin Sullivan ended up behind bars outside like that, but he's getting out in time for Thanksgiving Day Thunder. But I'm not sure if he's aware yet that he also has to wrestle the Bullet at Black Friday Day Thanksgiving Thunder, and Saturday Thanksgiving Thunder, and Sunday Thanksgiving Thunder.
Well, he's going to injure him so bad on Thursday that they're not going to have wrestle again.
Oh, God damn it. Those poor people in Johnson City and Knoxville and wherever the hell else it's going to be who don't get to experience the Bullet versus Kevin Sullivan in the Four Faces of Fear matches.
But the good people of Hazard, Kentucky will never forget.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I bet if we went to Hazard, Kentucky right now, when we interviewed people, people probably still so traumatized by that match that they don't even, like, they can't even talk about it, I bet. You know?
I don't want to talk to anybody in Hazard, Kentucky in 2025.
We'll find one of the Democrats in Hazard, Kentucky, and ask them. How about that?
I mean, I guess it's better than nothing.
I thought, the joke was there weren't any Democrats in Hazard, Kentucky.
Oh, there's always a couple.
Hmm.
There are dozens of us all throughout the South.
Shot there dozens. I
Yeah.
didn't think he got quite that far.
Hey, I went to see Mark Maron Saturday night, and there was about 500 of them there.
Are you sure?
Well, mostly, there are a few like people who got drugged there by somebody, but most of the crowd, yeah, Maron's crowd is very progressive.
Yeah. By the way, I got a email from Amazon. Easter goodies under $20. And one of the first things that it lists is a ThermoPro meat thermometer. I
I
mean, I guess when I
mean,
think about Easter goodies, that wasn't like the top of the list that you normally think of, but
well,
I guess.
do you not do Easter ham?
I don't celebrate religious holidays, so no, technically no, but
I don't
you
either,
do.
but I celebrate ham.
Yeah. You celebrate ham?
I celebrate ham. That is what I celebrate on the holiday otherwise known as Easter. That is a
I like that
celebration
you
of
don't eat ham, you celebrate ham.
oh, I absolutely eat ham, but it's in celebration. It's celebratory ham.
Mrs. Trae, put away the sadness ham and bring out the celebration ham.
There's no such thing as a sadness ham.
Oh Lord. All right, so yeah, Kevin Sullivan is still mad that Bullet Bob Armstrong did not pay his bills. I'm wondering, do you think Kevin Sullivan actually paid his bills, or did they get sent to a debt collector?
Well, if they did, the statute of limitations is up on that.
Well, now, but not in 1993. Honestly, I say Kevin Sullivan should have sued Bullet Bob Armstrong at Smoky Mountain Wrestling because he had a signed letter from the office of the commissioner to pay his medical bills, and so he increased his therapy under the assumption that they'd be paying for him, and then they're like, "No, we're not going to do that." I think he could have forced a settlement at the very least. I mean, especially when you look at
Well,
Smoky Mountain, like they're getting hit with one lawsuit after another. They still have that sexual discrimination lawsuit against them by Tammy Fitch.
yeah, is that we haven't had any news on that in a while.
Well, I imagine, they might be under a gag order by SMW's lawyers to not talk about it.
Uh, maybe.
All right, so after that, we immediately go right into a promo with the Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girl. And Trae, you have some explaining to do with your girl here.
All right, fans, with me right now here at ringside, of course, we got the Dirty White Boy and the Dirty White Girl, and she just is able to sit there, White Boy.
I cannot believe that a man stands 6'8", weighs 300 pounds, wants to come out and jump on a woman. Where I come from, tough guy, we don't go for that kind of stuff. And White Girl, I know you come to help me, but baby, I didn't honestly think that he was going to do this. So from now on, you just stay at home. It's all right. I'll take care of this fight myself, okay?
Oh, no. That witch made the biggest mistake when she put her hands on me. We come in a pair from now on. Where you go, I go. And I got news for her. I'm going to kick her butt from one end of this country to the other. And baby, this time it's not a threat. It's a damn promise.
There you heard it, Primetime Bradley. Now you've lit the damn fire. You talking about wanting to get nasty? You want to jump my old lady?
Well, by God, it ain't going to happen, because wherever I go, I'm going to carry this chain. And if you blink, I'm going to bust you right upside the head with it. I don't care if the promotion suspends me. I don't care if they fine me. I don't care what they do. Nobody on the face of God's green earth touches my old lady and lives to tell about it. And as far as that tramp's concerned, you get close and I'll choke your stinking turkey neck to death. Fans, don't go away. We'll have more action when we come back right after this.
Okay. So I think, if SMW isn't going to pay for Kevin Sullivan's therapy bills, I think they need to pay for Dirty White Boys. He's threatening to assault another wrestler if they blink. That does not seem very sane.
Oh, look. You might not understand this being a northerner, but you do not mess with a Dirty White Boy's old lady.
I thought you were going to say you don't hit women in the South. Like, yeah, that's all we do up here is just hit women.
Oh, no.
Up here in the North, we hit women, have abortions every other day, and, get forcibly gay married after our school forcibly transgenders us against our will. It's the North. We do whatever the hell we want up here.
People won't even let kids have their fucking inhalers.
Oh, Lord. We're really going to turn this into a political podcast one day, aren't we? And it's all my fault.
Look, it's not that agreeing with me is right or wrong. It's that it's not whether or not you agree with me, it's that I'm right and you can choose to agree with me or be wrong. It's simple, right?
Yeah. Much like how Dirty White Girl is going to kick Tammy Fitch's butt from one end of the country to the other.
Oh, my girl, she stumbled over her words there for just a second.
So last week she stumbled over her feet getting into the ring. This week she stumbled over her words. I can't wait till next week.
Her name was Dirty White Girl, not Graceful White Girl.
I guess it would be too much.
Graceful White Girl is a whole different gimmick.
Kimberly would not be married to Tony if she was the Graceful White Girl.
No. Hey, look, this is a woman that stands by her man, all right? I love this woman. She's fantastic. She is, she wasn't going to go home. She wasn't just going to go home and go back to doing the fucking dishes or whatever the fuck. She's going to whip that bitch's ass.
It's going to be a long time until I forget Primetime Brian Lee dumping her on her head on the announce desk.
Oh, and she's such a bad bitch, you can't even sell it.
Anytime when I scream while watching the wrestling show, it's bad. Yeah. Oh God, that might explain why she's so mad at him more than anything else.
It might.
Yeah. So because I can't say enough bad stuff about this show, we go from the Dirty White Girl to the fucking Moondogs, who you might recall are banned from television. And like any good tag team banned from television, here they are on television. Let's go to Bob Caudle with Jim Cornette and the Moondogs.
Here's Jim Cornette, the Moondogs. Hey, these guys have been fined and they've been barred from television. What the heck are they doing?
Right. $5,000 they fined us for what went on here on TV last week, but you know what $5,000 is to me? That's a phone call home to my mother. And she sent a check down and paid for the little damage that the dogs did. Of course, how can you put a price on a human life? But you see, Smoky Mountain Wrestling once again is trying to discriminate, trying to protect the Rock and Roll Express, protect the people that they like. They don't want the Moondogs on TV. What are they going to do about it, Bob Caudle, huh?
What are they going to... I tell you what they're going to do. They're not going to let them wrestle on television.
Oh, and they said, as a matter of fact, they said said that they would even send security.
Yeah, the Smoky Mountain security will prevent it.
That crack security force, Dutch. I know you know all about it. Well, let me tell you something right now. From the swamps of Louisiana to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, the Moondogs are here. They need some bones to chew on. They see some cats named Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. And you know, everybody knows dogs don't like cats. So I'll tell you what we're going to do right now, Smoky Mountain Wrestling. We are going to, you know what? We're going to laugh in the face of authority. We are going to ignore the ban on the Moondogs on television. The Moondogs are now going to go to the ring and let the security come. Let the wrestlers come. I'd love to see somebody try to put the Moondogs out. To the ring, boys. Sick 'em.
All right, I tell you, he's just flaunting it right in the face of the Smoky.
All right, so the Moondogs, I'm falling, like, I already disliked the Moondogs to begin with, and I'm falling further and further and further out of love with the fucking Moondogs each passing week, and we're only at week 2. And so the Moondogs are banned from television. They have yet to miss a television show since they've been banned here. And Jim Cornette says they're going to ignore the ban, obviously. And so the Moondogs get sick to the ring to wrestle nobody because there was nobody in the ring. There's no announcer, no referee, no jobbers, no security, no nothing. It makes you wonder if nobody had gone to the ring, how this segment would have ended.
Yeah, I do wonder. I will forever wonder that.
Out came the Smoky Mountain SWAT team. And suddenly I wonder why fans aren't just jumping in the ring willy-nilly. Because this was, in the history of inept security teams, this may have been the most inept security team of all time.
But hey, the one of them was wearing like stonewashed jeans. The other one had the most glorious zebra print Zubaz on.
Yes. One had a nice puffy permed afro going there. The other had a porn stash, and they both got taken out with the weakest weapon shots ever. One Moondog has a trash can, the other has a stop sign, and they so gently tapped the two of them in the head. There were no dents on the trash can of the stop sign. And so when that happened, at first I'm like, okay, well, it's 1993. This isn't 1999 WWF where we're braining each other with, metal objects. So, they're safe. Okay, fine, whatever. You got to keep in mind it's 1993. Out come the job crew who destroy the weapons because the Moondogs just waylay all of them with the weapons. Finally, after 5 or 6 jobbers all do the job here, out come Ricky and Robert. I wrote, out come Ricky and Robert to make the save. Except they don't. They get beaten up too. I have never wanted to see a Rock and Roll Express match so little in my life. And then making the save after all that, 2 security geeks, at least 5 or 6 jobbers, the Rock and Roll Express, the individual who runs them off by himself, Tim Horner.
Well, yeah, you got that white lightning.
Tim Horner, who's about to have a Loser Leaves Town series of matches with Prince Karis this weekend. I mean, it's not really Loser Leaves Town, but, he's pretty much done after this, at least as Tim Horner. Sadly, he's still not gone yet, but we're going to have a sadly less Tim Horner on our screen after next week.
What a shame.
Anyway, so Tim Horner runs them off, and Tim Horner stands tall in this battle with the Moondogs, who are banned from television. Join us next week where the Moondogs, who are banned from television, will undoubtedly be on television.
I'll probably be hosting the show next week.
There you go. Give Coddle and Dutch the week off, or if and when they do the episode that just recaps Thanksgiving Thunder, have it hosted by the Moondogs.
There you go. Good idea.
Why bring in Les and what's his name? The weather guy who I always loved that, he sucks as an announcer. I can't remember his goddamn name. I can picture him in my head, but
Yeah, have any idea how little
Phil
that narrows it down?
Phil Rainey. I don't even know if he's actually a
Uh,
weatherman or not, but I just assume Phil Rainey is a weatherman.
I mean, he has to be, right? His name is Rainey.
Yes. Oh, that's gonna be a bad name for a weatherman, though. Shouldn't he be like Phil
Uh,
Sunny?
I saw Sonny get filled. Never mind.
Aha. All right. So we had the Dirty White Girl, which okay, we can debate how good or bad the Dirty White Girl is. We then had the Moondogs, which, man oh man, I've never cared so little about a tag team match in my life. We then go to the special personality profile on former University of Tennessee football player Mike Furnas. And
I
banjo music
laughed.
begins playing.
I laughed and laughed and just thought of you, just hearing the words Mike Furnas personality profile, and I just laughed and had a good old time to myself.
We began looking at photos of the ugliest baby ever. Um, then we kept going through like some preposterous photos. Like these were the best photos they could find of Mike Furnas. He had an epic afro at one point. Oh my God, that thing was tremendous. Then they start talking about he was playing in the Italian Football League and he was in the Italian version of the Super Bowl. And suddenly I wanted to reread the John Grisham book, Playing for Pizza.
Now I
Uh,
want to know about the Italian version of the Super Bowl. Is it
you
is
don't
it the
care about
Pasta Bowl? It's the never-ending Pasta Bowl, isn't it? Did I kill the podcast?
good night, everybody. Good night.
Hey, you know what's really
Oh
fucking
God.
good? And I like that the shrimp Alfredo at Olive Garden.
I don't think I've ever had anything of theirs with shrimp in it.
Oh, I
Um,
love shrimp. Love shrimp. I'll just about always, if I have a meat choice and shrimp as an option, I'll just about always do shrimp.
um, what is it called? I think it's a chicken marsala. I used to really like with of theirs until they changed the recipe and it became more spinach based, which just was not right.
I
Um,
am not I am not a soup person, but anytime I go to Olive Garden, I will eat 2 or 3 bowls of the chicken gnocchi just because it's so good.
I, I will always go for the pasta fazool when I'm there. And I used to really enjoy the Italian trio. You get the little piece of lasagna, you get the chicken parm, and you get some fettuccine Alfredo. It's good shit.
This is not a paid plug for Olive Garden, by the way.
Olive Garden did not go out of business on June 1st, by the way, which just shows we're better at this than Smoky Mountain. Plus we didn't even charge Olive Garden, which makes us worse than Smoky Mountain because at least in theory they got something out of their plug, whether it was cash or whatever else you could get out of Khakis Lounge at the Ramada Inn in Hickory, North Carolina.
I bet that was a hell of a good time on a Friday night.
Yeah. By the way, during this personality profile of Mike Furnas, I began wondering who the fuck is Tracy Smothers wrestling at the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour? And it turned out
I
the
think
answer is
nobody.
nobody.
He's in
He is go
Japan, isn't he?
he is in All Japan wrestling among other people, friend of the podcast Masao Ito.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's teaming with Richard Slinger, who is
In
Terry
in,
Gordy's nephew, and I
in
believe they lost every match.
I was gonna say that they lost every match, but I'm like, well, you're watching All Japan, so I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, they lose every match in the tag league. Um,
Well, somebody's got to. I mean,
I remember
are
reading.
you looking at it? I want to look now. Now that
No, I was looking at it earlier. I
since we've
remember.
gone off topic, we have to talk about what tag teams were in the 1993 Real World Tag League.
So while you look that up, I want to tell a story. I was years ago. I was reading an interview with Dave Meltzer. Um, I think it was in the Armpit. Do you remember the Armpit? It was like the wrestling version of the Onion.
No, no, that sounds fantastic. I don't remember that.
But yeah, they interviewed Dave, and they asked him something like, how you're like, how do you have a life while going wrestling? Like, you used to obsess every Christmas over the Real World Tag League, but you now seem to have to be able to work more of a personal life into it. How do you do it? And his answer was, the tag league just isn't as good anymore.
Ah, that's such a Dave answer. Oh my God.
Like, okay, Dave.
Uh,
It's like how he started lifting weights during Raw because his wife was like, they have commercials. And he's like, oh yeah, I guess they do.
okay, so this is a decent lineup. Some very good team. It's top heavy, and then it's light on the bottom. But that's the way it goes. But let's talk about these teams. All right. Uh, Mitsuharu Misawa and Kenta Kobashi, Hall of Fame tag team, slam dunk. Yes. Stan Hansen and Ted DiBiase, which DiBiase gets injured in like the first match and decides to retire, and so Giant Baba fills in for the rest of the tournament, which is kind of like the last time that Baba was ever in a main event position.
So
Toshiaki
that's quite the
Kawada,
replacement.
yeah. Toshiaki Kawada and Akira Taue, Holy Demon Army, Hall of Fame tag team. Steve Williams and Big Bubba. That's a fucking team right there, buddy. Danny Spivey and Johnny Ace, Dan Profit and Doug Furnas. Speaking of furnaces, the Patriot and the Eagle, and Tracy Smothers and Richard Slinker, who ended on a score of 0. So the bottom four teams, all right. Spivey and Ace, Crawford and Furnace, and Patriot and Eagle all ended on 4 points each. And then in last place, Smothers and Slinger with 0.
Hey, somebody's got to do all the jobs in that tournament.
Yeah, well,
And wasn't the Eagle our good friend Jackie Fulton?
I believe so.
I like that you didn't click on the Eagle. You're right there.
I'm not on Cage Match. I'm on
The
Puro
always
Love.
reliable Wikipedia.
No, no, Puro Love is
Ah,
my go-to.
okay. I didn't even know that was a thing. Pure Love. PureLove.com.
Yes, it's in German, but it's like
Well, so is
you
Cage
could figure
Match.
you could figure it out.
All right. So we had the Dirty White Girl segment, which, again, your taste. We had the Moondogs segment, which sucked. We had the Mike Furnas segment, which sucked. We now have Tim Horner at the microphone. What the fuck is
Okay,
up with Jim Cornette this week?
to be fair, it wasn't just Tim Horner.
Yes, but when we come back from commercial and the first thing I see is Bob Caudle holding a microphone next to Tim Horner, I'm like, who did I piss off?
Yeah, I
Is this
understand.
is this just to show me that TNA isn't that bad? By the way, Moondog Spot, who or whichever Moondog was that was on TNA last week, did not come on TNA this week. You know,
Oh, well,
yeah, I forgot to
is he
mention
is
that
he
yesterday on the
is he
TNA show.
suspended? Is he suspended from TNA TV?
He might be, although he mustn't be because he was suspended from TNA TV. He'd be on every week.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because you got to swerve the people.
Yep. By the way, we have some breaking news here.
Oh, what do
Here
we
on a
got?
show that's not going to air for 2 days. Handsome Miro and CJ Perry have reconciled and renewed their vows.
Aw, good for
Aw, good for
them.
them.
Yes. It's funny, of all the stupid lines in wrestling history, Rusev cutting a promo before the Royal Rumble that time, talking about how they call Big Show and Big E and Big Cass big, and everyone knows they're big. You don't have to call them big, but no one calls him Handsome Rusev. You know, that just stuck with me
Yeah, well,
forever.
and then people
He
proceeded to
has a
call him
point. No,
Handsome
nobody ever
Rusev.
calls. I've called him Handsome Rusev and Handsome Miro ever since.
I will. I am bummed that his AEW run didn't live up to its potential because I really loved the Redeemer character and that music. I guess
Oh yes.
the thing that he will be most remembered for was the little program with Eddie Kingston that was pretty
Oh,
fantastic
that
going into All Out, whatever All Out that was 2001.
well, it wasn't All Out 2001. I promise you that. Maybe All
Was
Out
it not?
2021 because
Oh,
2001 AEW wasn't
you're
around
right.
for like
Oh,
18 years
yeah,
yet.
you're right. My brain automatically subtracts 20 years from everything, apparently.
It's all good. Hey, I was at Brawl Out 2002. Not
Brawl
quite.
Out
Uh,
2002. What was
that
oh,
that that was before John Moxley. I don't think John Moxley was even wrestling at that point yet.
I don't think so.
Um, but I know this wasn't his last match. But I'm still like a little pissed off, and I know there were injuries involved and all that shit, that they never did a rematch with Handsome Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs.
I know that match was like
That
that was a pretty
that
overachieving
might
match
be
too.
yes, that like we were talking about Vince and Zach Allen during the pre-show, that no one will ever hear probably because I've just been really lazy about putting those things together. But that might be the most overachieving match ever. Not that no one thought it'd be any good, but I mean, I went in like, okay, this is gonna be, around a 3-star match. And maybe 3.5, because like Miro's really good, Powerhouse Hobbs is good, but like I can't say either ever really had like the oh my God, this is the greatest match I've ever seen type of match. And then oh my God, they had the greatest match I've ever seen kind of match.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yes. I never rewatched that. I should rewatch it again. By the way, by the way, this is all on you. Because, well, I guess the Rusev thing's on me, but I just started asking what is Tracy Smothers doing, and you took us off on a rant. You know,
Oh,
this is your fault.
sorry.
Well, let's go to Tim Horner to save the show. Go on,
God damn
Tim.
it. Damn it.
Highlighting Tim Horner, interrupted by Daryl Van Horn. He just came out and interrupted the interview.
Exactly. Tim Horner, I'm going to give you a chance right now in front of all these Smoky Mountain moo cows, these girls that worship you that stink of monostat and malt liquor, to back out of Thanksgiving Thunder right now. It's going to be the best move you can make, Tim Horner. You see, you better go home. I'm sure your mother's waiting for you in the tool shed. If you show up for Thanksgiving Thunder, Tim Horner, your career will end. All of those illegitimate children you have fathered up and down the road are going to be sad and sorry. They're not going to have a daddy anymore. I'm going to tell you something, Tim Horner. You are going to be the first person to find out that the history of Prince Karas's career will be written in blood, not wine. Wine is what we're going to use to celebrate his victories with. I'm giving you a chance right now. Go ahead and get out of it in front of all your fans, and I'll leave you alone.
Let me tell you something, Van Horn. I think you're full of crap. Maybe that's why your eyes are brown. I'm not afraid of nobody and never backed up from anybody, and I'm not going to start with you or your prince from Cairo. You got that? He better be ready, because I am, pal.
He doesn't talk to me like that.
All right, Tim Horner, he's ready. Let's go to the ring, fans.
Trae, I hope you're sitting down for this because I know you're always standing during the podcast. I'm going to call that a win.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, I agree.
Now, Daryl Van Horn never takes off his sunglasses, so how does he know that he's got brown eyes? But ignoring that for a minute, Tim Horner was kept to 12 seconds. And that is well within the Tim Horner rule of 30 seconds or less. And
Yeah, I don't. I don't know about the rest of the country, but Southerners think that you're so full of shit your eyes are brown is like the most clever thing you can say.
I have heard that here in the North too. Um, in addition to being called gay and fat and needing to wear glasses, I gotta say we're really clever up here in the North too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, this is, by the way, where I noted that they've never mentioned the Heavenly Bodies versus the Rock and Roll Express at Survivor Series. Um,
Uh,
but
I
but
noted earlier, I didn't have as much as of a problem with the Moondog segment as you did, but I was starting to get aggravated because I realized here was Jim Cornette, and this, to the best of my memory, is the second week in a row that I have not seen my scumbag at all. But by the end of the show, that was rectified.
well, I mean, they told you at the beginning that he was going to be wrestling in the main event.
Do you
So
really think that I don't have anything better to do than listen to Bob Caudle when Bob Caudle is talking?
honestly, I'm still waiting for you to notice the new Mid South Wrestling logo. So who knows if that'll ever happen either.
Who knows?
Um, let's see here. Actually, I was going to say this might be the last Tim Horner TV match, but it's not for more than one reason. But yeah, Tim Horner, I'd say we hardly knew Ye, but we knew Ye way more than we should have known Ye. Um, but yeah. So
Tim Horner?
let
Tim
what was that?
Horner, you were shameless.
If I didn't want to get struck down by YouTube copyrights, I would so play Tim Horner singing Shameless. But since we can't have Tim Horner singing Shameless, and even though he's not getting an entrance anymore for some reason, it is time for the Beat the Champ TV title match, which means thunder rolls and the lightning strikes. Because Tim Horner is wrestling Robbie Eagle, singular Robbie Eagle.
Not to be confused with Robbie Eagle, who is a better wrestler.
I thought Robbie Eagles was the New Japan guy.
Yeah, you're right. Look, you can't expect everything I say to be correct.
It's 9:19 p.m. on a Tuesday. We're up past your bedtime, I guess. You went from
Uh,
watching you went from watching New Japan Strong Style to watching Southern 1993 wrestling.
to be fair, I watched the Southern Wrestling before I watched the New Japan because I am a professional and I watched what we needed to watch for the podcast first. Damn it.
To be fair, I didn't watch any other wrestling today before, or oh, I guess after Smoky Mountain, I watched like 5 minutes of NXT. But
I
by the
I
way,
honestly I was
Ricky
going to wake
Starks.
up. I'm sorry, go ahead. Ricky Starks, go ahead.
Ricky Starks is being snubbed on NXT because he's an outsider, and according to Ethan Page, they don't like outsiders in NXT. That's supposed to be
I
funny.
how is it supposed to be funny?
I
I
assume it's
guess
supposed to be
it's
funny.
slightly less unfunny. I don't know. Sure.
Anywho, what were you about to say?
What was I talking about? Maybe I can find it again.
We we weren't talking about anything, to be honest. We were talking about, watching wrestling, and you talked about being a good
Oh,
boy. Oh, you were gonna wake up
oh.
and do something.
I was gonna wake up and watch New Japan when it started at 4:30 this morning. And then I just I laid down early and I just could not sleep because I have terrible insomnia all the time. So I
Hmm.
finally I fall asleep for a little while and I wake up at 4:15 and I had finally fallen asleep like an hour before and I'm like, fuck it. I,
I I honestly just assume anytime New Japan is on, you're watching live.
um usually not all of the major shows. A lot of the road to shows I don't get up for, but like
It
tournament
it
season I usually will, and this is the New Japan Cup, so I'm watching everything.
so what you're saying is it's not the biggest lie I've ever told on this show.
Well, no, when you put it like that.
By the way, in case anyone is curious out there, Tim Horner did win the match with the natural bridge. You ever notice when Tim Horner comes
Naturally.
up, that's when we usually go way off topic. It's like, you know,
Oh, isn't that funny?
yeah, weird how that happens. They
Yeah.
aired a commercial for the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour, and I guess I'm not too sad that our favorite joke is gonna go away because it's starting to peter out. So, you know, it's all right. We've reached the end of the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour.
And what a time it was. Well, there'll be something. What are we gonna have next? Christmas I don't
Christmas
know, Christmas
chaos.
something. Is it Christmas Chaos? I knew that was OVW name.
I think it's Christmas chaos. We'll
It,
see in,
something.
you know, we'll see like in 2 weeks when they start plugging it. It's
Yeah.
I promise you we'll find out. Anywho, so we go to our main event. Oh, by the way, next week we got a six-man tag. We got a banger.
Oh
Heavenly Bodies
yeah.
and Primetime Brian Lee versus The Rock, his partner Roll Express, and Tracy Smothers.
That actually sounds like a hell of a match.
Yes. Um, Now up next though, we get the Heavenly Bodies with Jim Cornette versus the Harrises. This was a wild melee that broke down into a tag team match. Uh, Dutch at one point said the Harrises don't know an arm drag for anything or from anything. And I gotta say, that's wild. They can't tell the difference between an arm drag and anything. Like, if I showed them an arm drag and I showed them a magnificently appointed Tuscan villa, would they not be able to tell the difference between the two things?
You're so corpulent that when you sit around the magnificently acquainted Tuscan Villa, you sit around the magnificently acquainted Tuscan Villa.
See, at least you got the reference.
If there's a Family Guy reference, I will get it.
Even a modern day Family Guy reference?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So last week I broke the news about how to tell the difference between Ron and Don Harris. This week they did not stop long enough for me to see their tattoos, so I don't know which Harris was which this week. So we're back to that. Um, a brawl breaks out and one Harris got hit in the back with a racket. So one Harris began choking Jim Cornette until one heavenly body, which was Tom, hit him with a chair. And then Jim tied one Harris to the ring post. Well, tried to. I think he failed at it, but he kind of succeeded. Um, it inside the ring, we got a 2-on-1 on two Harris, which apparently was legal because Mark Curtis did not give a fuck, or maybe he just hates the Harrises as much as the rest of us do. Um,
Mark Curtis stays not giving a fuck.
One Harris got free and decided to leave. What a coward! These damn Nazis, they're such cowards. Oh wait, he returned.
Typical. Oh.
He returned with wood,
Uh,
and
oh yeah, yes, he did.
one Harris turned one wood into two wood as he broke it over Jimmy Del Rey's head. Now,
He sure did.
if this was a promotion that that had a little bit more money in it, I would say it was a gimmicked wood. But I mean, it may be because it was a pretty clean split. But either way, Jimmy Del Rey really got bonked in the head with that wood.
He sure did. Okay, there's a lot here that I want to refer back to. First off, the Ruse brothers are now coming out to get a haircut by George Thorogood and the Destroyers. I like how people in this territory will change songs when they turn, except for the Dirty White Boy, whose song is perfect.
Watch next week, he'll have a new theme song.
Oh, I'm fucking quitting. How dare he? This may be. Now, I know the bar is on the fucking floor. Like, we'd have to pick up the bar to go under it. But this might be the best match that Heavy D and Big Ron ever had.
I don't know. They had all those classics, especially WCW as Creative Control. And remember them versus the Marmadukes for the World Tag Team Championship?
I sure do. I really do. It's funny because that match is like weirdly. I don't know. I watched those tapes a lot, like those early 2000 WCW tapes a lot growing up.
Mm-hmm. By the way, shout out to Daffney, who was like the sweetest person ever. Uh, and she was the person who called the Mamalukes the Marmadukes. And I
Uh,
I can't say I stole, well, I guess I stole it. But I mean, how often do you ever talk about the
so,
Marmadukes?
they had really, really
Really
great entrance music.
Oh yeah, that was one. They did really have good entrance music there. Um, and then Big Vito became the king of hardcore, and then Johnny the Bull broke his ass.
Yeah, he did. He broke his
Yeah,
ass.
yes, it would have been funny if it wasn't so sad. You know.
It's still kind of funny. Okay, it's funny that he broke his ass. It's not funny that he like I don't remember exactly ripped his urethra out of place.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
Nitro against Terry Funk.
yeah, yeah. That part of it is not funny. The breaking your ass part is funny.
Boys and girls, do not do a springboard leg drop to the floor on Terry Funk.
I thought you were gonna say, "Do not break your ass."
Boys and girls, do not break your ass.
This is not just a wrestling podcast; it's a life advice podcast.
Exactly. We should be famous TikTokers now too. You know,
Sure
we're
should.
giving life advice. Don't break your
Yeah.
ass. That'll be our first video. Don't break your ass.
You know,
Don't
some
don't
of our
break my
clips,
ass. My aching, breaking ass.
some of we might could do some clips from the watch alongs that would actually be like funny TikToks.
Oh Lord. You know, nobody I can't say nobody watches. That's the one show people fucking watch. And that's the one show like we're not doing every single week. There's both something really wrong with us and really wrong with everybody else too.
If we did
And
it
it's
every
okay.
week, it wouldn't be a spot show.
True. True that. True that. By the way, Friday Night Spot Show returns next Friday. Heroes of Wrestling Part 1. You know,
Exciting.
up until Stan Lane versus Tully Blanchard, which the last time I watched that show, I thought that was the match of the night. So we'll
It
see
probably is.
if it quote unquote holds up. You know, I don't know how anything on that show holds up, but if anything does, we'll be talking about it next week. Oh Lord.
Exciting.
So we got to end the show with the promo. So let's hear from the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion Tammy Fitch with Primetime Brian Lee.
Primetime Brian Lee right here, fans, and Tammy Fitch. Can't believe it. He came out and attacked the dirty white girl. This big guy.
You know, I wonder if that little dirty white girl has a little bit of a headache now, huh? Well, looking the way she does, it's gotta hurt. But she's just like Tammy Wynette, standing by her man, just like a little housewife should. See, she's not like me. I'm a well-educated businesswoman. She is a housewife. She's good for washing dishes, doing laundry, and that's it. Well, actually, I kind of heard she's good for something else, too.
Well, you're exactly right, girl. She's good for something if you have $10, and the line's probably out back of the building right now. But I don't care about that. I can snatch a woman, or I can snatch you, white boy. Thanksgiving Thunder. I can't wait to get my hands on you, dirty white boy, and dirty white girl. I'll break you in half again if I have to. See you, Big Bob.
All right, fans. Tag.
All right. So I'm not sure if this makes you happy or not that apparently Dirty White Girl is really good at sex.
Oh, I would have guessed that. I bet that Tammy is one of those that like she just thinks because she's so hot she doesn't have to put any effort in. So it's like fucking a dead fish. But I mean, you can tell in the eyes when a chick has crazy eyes, you know she fucks like a wildcat.
And I mean, like I said, you know, it's good. It's nice that she's good at something. Everyone needs a skill.
How dare you? How dare you imply that she's not great at everything she does?
I apologize, Dirty White Girl. If you're still alive, please come into our podcast.
Yeah.
So that does it for the show. 95 down, 105 to go. we're almost at the halfway mark. We're
Oh,
47.5% of the way done the show, or done the series.
not sure if you mentioned it. And we did mention earlier, Jimmy Del Rey took the board shot so goddamn great. But also earlier in the match, he did the worst looking handspring I have ever seen, and it was so glorious. Like, if it had been better, it would have ruined it.
But yeah, Del Rey is great. Dr. Tom is great. Jim Cornette is great. The Heresies were there. Yeah, that's all
Poor
you can ask for them,
heresies.
is to be there.
You know
All right,
what? I realize this isn't saying much, but they are doing the best work of their career.
wait until they feud with the Moondogs. Um, yeah,
Wow.
that's happening.
Oh,
Um,
tremendous.
yes. So before we finish up, I'd like to tell you what else is happening in the world of wrestling. And I'm not sure if this is going to be, a wrestling podcast or a true crime podcast, because the big news this week, Vince McMahon and Titan Sports were officially indicted and charged by the federal government with conspiracy to distribute anabolic steroids and to defraud the United States Food and Drug Administration, along with illegal possession of anabolic steroids with intent to distribute. He is facing a max of 8 years in prison, $1 million in fines, and the risk of forfeiture of their $9.5 million office building. Looking back, I'm always surprised how fast the legal system moves sometimes. Like, they went to court in July. This is November. And I guess,
Yeah.
they were investigating it for a bit, but I mean, I cannot imagine a similar case going to court so soon in 2025.
Well, the whole federal government has been sabotaged to be incompetent and inefficient. So who the fuck knows?
It's sabotage. This show is just really a backdrop for me singing. We
Yeah.
did
Well,
Thunder Rolls, I did Achy Breaky Heart, and now I'm doing Sabotage. Um,
sabotage.
yes. So all this lawsuit is told, or not lawsuit, it's a criminal case. All this criminal case has taught me is that hiring Jerry McDivitt is never a bad idea, apparently. Um,
Certainly seems like if you need to do
now
some
remember,
nefarious shit, he's the guy.
now remember last week when Jerry Lawler was charged with, statutory rape and sodomy against a 13-year-old girl?
I do recall that.
This week, the 13-year-old girl submitted a 4-page affidavit stating that none of these things actually happened.
Oh
So,
well.
yeah, we'll see how that happens. We'll see what happens from here. And apparently, the 13-year-old girl and her mother submitted it. So it's not like, oh, she was just being pressured because, Jerry Lawler lost one job and, is a local celebrity and what had not. And then
Sure.
a pay-per-view so bad that I was ready to talk about statutory rape and anabolic steroid distribution again. WCW held their Battle Bowl pay-per-view, the one and last time they ever hold a show named Battle Bowl. And oh boy, like the first 2.5 hours of this show, complete and total shit. Especially like, hey, Trae, you're watching WCW right now. Do you have any desire to watch 8 to 10 random draw tag team matches with the WCW roster in fall of 1993?
It sounds like a too long Saturday night with slightly more interesting matches.
Man, I can only imagine how bad Saturday night is if this show is slightly more interesting. Um, the last 10 minutes of the show, when it got down to the final four in the Battle Royal, Vader, Sting, Steve Austin, and Ric Flair. I don't want to alarm you, Trae, but Vader, Sting, Steve Austin, and Ric Flair are all really good at professional wrestling.
I'll be damned.
I know, right? Vader won Battle Bowl, last eliminating Sting. And the key was they continued to build towards Vader and Flair at Starrcade when Vader injured Flair on the ramp, taking him out of the Battle Bowl Battle Royal.
Very rude.
Yes, and this would be the last time, well, not the last time, this would be the last time Battle Bowl was held for 3 years, as it would come back one time at Slamboree 96 before being retired forever and ever and ever until TNA brought it out of the mothballs like 12 times.
Well, TNA gonna do that kind of thing.
TNA got it, TNA.
They sure do.
Yep. It's how Awesome Kong ended up getting a World Tag Team title match, technically. I mean, she was in the tournament.
Well, yeah.
It's like, logic like that is why you get to say that Virgil one time had a pay-per-view world title match, as did Repo Man and Haku. No offense to Haku, he's a very nice man. The Warlord got a world title match on pay-per-view. Hell, the Barbarian got 2 in the same year. But yeah. So,
yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about, or else are we actually going to wrap this thing up here before in less than 90 minutes?
That was all I had. I guess we're done.
Man, the one time I don't have any notes about stuff to bring up. I know it's only been one real life day, but have you checked out Kim's Convenience yet?
Have not.
Okay.
Have not had time. Oh, I gotta yeah, my wife and I had planned to watch the season premiere of The Righteous Gemstones, so I'm gonna go see if she's still awake. We can do that.
Nice. And I hope you enjoy seeing a house tomorrow.
Yeah, I would love to see a house. Hope it works out this time.
And if not, you could just watch House. You know.
Only if it's the episode where he's watching Christian Cage wrestle Abyss and TNA.
Did that actually happen?
Yes. Yeah. Did you not know that?
I did not.
Yeah, I never really watched that show except for like a brief period when because my ex was into it, and there's just there was one episode that he's like sitting at home and he's just chilling watching and it's Abyss wrestling Christian Cage in TNA, and he's just chilling watching TV when the phone rings.
Why would he suffer him like that? I guess it's House, whatever.
I mean, that wasn't the
right.
worst TNA.
I mean, except maybe when Abyss tried to murder him that time.
Well, yeah, that is worse.
All right, so I guess that's gonna do it for the show. Listen to the Oh My God cast, and you will not hear me on the show, but I did try to watch Bloodsport or I'm sorry, not Bloodsport, Bloodfest or Blood Feast Night 1, and it's allegedly a 2-hour show, but it could not have gone any less than 14 or 15 hours.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, one more note. If you're the one person who also listens to the Oh My God cast, we did not do a new show this week just because there was too much to do this weekend. So we're gonna do new shows the next 2 weeks to get back on track.
What? No. I mean, okay. All right. Listen to classic Oh My God cast. Listen to classic something else. Listen to the Friday Night Spot show. Listen to the rest of our damn shows. We'd appreciate it. But, until then, thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed me yelling at you just now. And we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.